That's right. Let's do this, everyone. It's Wednesday night. And you know what that means? It's time for another action-packed episode of the Wicked Wally webcast. Soon to be the best hard rock, heavy metal talk show on the planet. I'm Wicked Wally, your host, and this show is live on Twitch, YouTube, and as well on Facebook. Wherever you're watching this show, the most important part of the show is the audience, whoever's watching right now. We need some more people watching. So as soon as we have some questions, some comments in the chat, I'm definitely going to discuss that on the show. So whatever you want to say to us, you want to have questions, you want to just shout out and say, put up your metal horns, whatever you want to do, we'll acknowledge you in the chat tonight because you're part of the show too. It's not just us here tonight. We have a killer show tonight. I'm excited. It is episode number 23. We have an interview with Nathanael, Bohnet and Ray of Medicine Hat, Alberta's genre-bending modern metal duo, No Hope for the Lost. They recently released their Final Fantasy X-inspired EP called The Pilgrimage. So a little bit of nerdy talk probably tonight, talking about some of that stuff on their EP. It's going to be exciting for that. And not only that, Nathanael, or Nate, we're going to call him tonight, is a big supporter of the metal scene in general in Alberta and definitely in the Medicine Hat area. He runs Octave Studios in Medicine Hat, recording studio there, the Concrete Wasteland Podcast, which features other artists, lesser-known artists, the Alternative Waves Music Festival in Medicine Hat. He is involved with that as well, and that's a huge thing in the local scene there in Medicine Hat. And he's also involved in. They're also No Hope for Lost is involved in the 8-hour song challenge that's going to be coming up here soon. So we have lots of cool stuff to talk about tonight, including, like I said, The Pilgrimage, the brand new EP, 4-track EP that they just dropped very recently here. So before we kick off tonight's show, though, I do need to. Here, I'll introduce Vito. Hi, Vito. Can't hear you, Vito.
Now I'm unmuted.
Now you're unmuted.
Right when the dog starts barking too. How's it going, Wally?
Good,
nice
good.
To be back.
It is, yeah. It's actually been quite a while. If you follow us on social media, if you follow Wicked Wally Webcast on Instagram, or on Facebook, but mostly on Instagram, you can see all the updates there. We did have a 3-week hiatus because my daughter came a little earlier than expected. And when that happened, we also kind of had to shuffle off Vito's show, and the last show before that you were going to be on didn't work out. You got something, things happened during that. So it's been a while, dude, for finally have us both on the stream here doing the show together. So I'm pretty excited to have you back.
Me too.
Yeah, definitely. Some more folks have joined the chat. So folks watching right now, Wicked Wally Webcast, we No Hope for the Lost on tonight's show. We want to hear your questions, your comments, your feedback. We want to hear from you tonight because you are the most important part of the show. So send us your love in the chat, and we'll make sure you're part of the conversation with us tonight. Hang out with us. So before we kick off the show, as you can notice, Vito and I are repping our own merch tonight, the Wicked Wally merch tonight. So and the reason we're doing that is not just because we're keeners that want to rep our own stuff, but right now there is a merchandise giveaway going on right now. So let me pull this up here. If you go to our Instagram page and you go to find Wicked Wally Webcast, all one word on Instagram, we do have a giveaway on our Instagram for a t-shirt and hat combo. So go on there. What you have to do is like the post and then tag somebody that you think would like the Wicked Wally Webcast in there as well. So you do both of those things, that gets you one entry. And if you share it on your on your Instagram story, you get an additional entry. So just so I can show folks what things look like here, I'll stand up. I'm wearing this shirt, and they turned out awesome. I'm actually very, very happy. I'm very picky when it comes to merchandise and shirts and all that kind of stuff. When I want to buy something or whatever, they turned out awesome. So.
Oh, beautiful. Look at that.
Okay, there we go. Show the guns too. Yeah, so the merchandise turned out really, really great. There's also tank shirts, a bunch of stuff here. Actually, I'm going to pull this up really quickly, our merch store. If you're interested in getting some Wicked Wally merchandise, Wicked Wally webcast merchandise, if you don't want to wait for the contest or try to win some. I mean, that free is even better, right? But yeah, we have the t-shirt, tank shirt, the hoodie, the cropped hoodie. The lead vocalist, Kaylee from the Luminary Plot, bought the cropped hoodie, and she recently posted that on their Instagram, so it was pretty cool. The flat brim hat, as well as the dad hat. The dad hat looks better on me, so I bought myself a dad hat, a toque, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, we're just trying to promote our merchandise as well as promote the show. But we also want to give the folks who watch the show and support it a chance to win some free stuff as well. So that's what's going on. And like I said at the top of the show, it's time to introduce our guests for tonight. So gentlemen, you can unmute your Skype call. We have Ray Fujioka. Is that right? Is that actually your last name?
That's how we got it.
And Nathanael Bohnet. Hi, gentlemen. Both of you. Hello. Sorry, apologize. Ree and Nate. Ray, sorry, I keep saying the wrong name. Ray and Nate, sorry about that. Thanks so much for joining tonight. Both of you are part of this awesome musical project, and it caught my attention randomly on social media, and I listened to the single. And I'm like, man, I have to get the two of you on the show. I really appreciate you coming on tonight.
Well, thank you. It's really cool hearing that. One of our random posts connected with like someone that we don't already have like some kind of connection with prior to the lockdown. We live in a really small city where it's really hard to get out there. So like to hear that somebody else was just like hearing stuff and was like, whoa, I gotta get these guys on here or whatever. Like that means a lot. Yeah.
We also have to support our local Albertans. So yeah, you guys are from Alberta. We're from Alberta. We gotta keep it all in the family, right?
Where from Alberta are you guys from?
We're just from Calgary.
Yeah, we're in Calgary.
Awesome. We're just 3 hours away. We're down in the Hat.
And I lived in the Hat for 2 years. I went to Medicine Hat College, so I'm a big and my brother lives there now, as he's a firefighter. So I'm in his family. So I love Medicine Hat. Actually, it's a really
almost nice place to stay quiet and focused.
Definitely, yes. It probably does breed artists because there's nothing else. There's not much to do there.
Correct.
I'm actually really surprised, Ray and Nate. I want to ask you about this. We're going to get into your music as well, which is like I said, is just awesome. But now that we're talking about this, I wanted to ask you about the metal scene and the heavy music scene in general, because there's punk and there's other heavy genres. I want to ask you about that in Medicine Hat, because when I lived there, and we're talking like 2002 to 2004, we're talking a little. Well, I'm dating myself right now, but a while ago, I didn't know of any heavy music scene whatsoever in Medicine Hat. And maybe it existed, but I was a metalhead and I was like starved for shows. I didn't realize there's any shows going on. Is it something that has been cultivated more recently in recent years? Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna let Nate explain the details with this, but Medicine Hat actually, I might not get the timelines right with this, but between 2004 and say 2006, Medicine Hat actually has had a really, really dark history with very tragic cases of murders with mentally unstable people. Yes. Unfortunately, this was something that happened more than once, and it came to the point where even shows were getting canceled, and metalheads and punks were even getting jumped, coming home from shows.
Yeah,
the merch stores were getting shut down, and the life of metal and hardcore and punk actually wasn't breathed back into the Medicine Hat scene until around 2010, 2011. And Nathanael and I at the time were literally both just teenagers finishing up high school.
Yeah. Wow.
And it was really intense. What's really cool about that too is, from 2004 to 2006, or maybe even 2002, I'll say, because we have the Browns. The Browns got on Tony Hawk's Pro Skaters playlist back in the day.
Okay.
They're a Manhattan
Right.
band. We have
Right.
One Shot Left, which was a great pop punk band. They did some stuff back and forth. And I'm because I've brought up two bands that this guy's a part of, I have to give a huge shout out to Chad Chibline, because in my humble opinion, he is the heart of the punk scene.
I
in
love
Southern
Chad,
Alberta.
and I love his band Almar, especially. It's like probably my favorite band that he's
Almar,
been in. is
Western
Almar.
Death, One Shot Left. I don't know if he's in the Browns, but like he's the guy that if he's not in the band, he's at the punk show supporting them. He's been around since that happened, everything. And then the Richardson triple murder happened.
Right.
And unfortunately, since they were goth individuals, that put a very dark overall opinion of that subculture, and that's what led to the shows eventually disappearing
Right.
within Medicine Hat for a while. But come around 2010, 2011, Van and Kesavan of Naraka and Black Dog Trauma came into Medicine Hat and started doing shows. Myself and my good friend Colton Schrett, vocalist of Raising the Ruins, both came in under his wing to kind of figure everything out. He took a more promotion aspect, I took a more sound aspect, and this is when I started working live shows for the first time. And we were just cultivating like a new resurgence of the scene, like being like, there's a place for metal, there's a place for punk, there's a place for this alternative style of music, which is the way I like to look at it, since it's such a vast spectrum at this point. Like, it's alternative music. Like, you can throw any spin or combination on anything, and it's there. And the entire aspect since then, obviously, like, trying to get over old mentalities, be what they are, but as a whole, the main mentality within the scene, I feel, is let's build something around ourselves. We have thrash metal musicians, we have punk musicians, we have gent progressive musicians. We're all in the same area. Let's start cultivating something that's worthwhile. And what's cool is how that kind of reaches out to Red Deer, Lethbridge, Calgary, because we're all like each other's comrades. When Calgary bands come to Medicine Hat, I would house them more than likely. And so vice versa, that would happen when I would go and visit these cities. And that's partially how Ray and I really started to get to know each other off the hop. Like, I met her at a show back when she played in the Evulsion, and I think, were you still Celestial Coffin at that time?
I think around the time we met, we had turned into the Evulsion by then, but like I had like heard a lot about you kind of thing around that time.
Yeah.
I used to do the death metal thing a lot. And I was in this old band called The Evulsion. We used to be called Celestial Coffin. And I used to live in Lethbridge for a really long time, and we got invited down to play in Medicine Hat. My little brother always lived in Medicine Hat, as well as my family. So like we just started going down there and playing shows all the time. And Medicine Hat became a favorite place to play until eventually, like, anybody that's heard of Lethbridge, I don't mean to throw Lethbridge under the bus, but like anyways, I ended up in Medicine Hat 2 years ago, and that's all I need to say.
Fair enough. And like, see, that was the thing. I said I found your music randomly on social media. Maybe it was posted from another band. Someone else was in another band who knew about you or whatever it was. I found out about No Hope for the Lost. It used to be called Deadlights, by the way. You changed your band name, which was very confusing because I actually played some Deadlights on my old radio show on the CJSW, and then when I heard of No Hope for the Lost, and I'm like, oh, this album cover looks familiar, but I've never heard of this band, and I got confused. So I actually had heard of you before because of the name change. But anyways,
thank you too for playing us back then, because that was back when we didn't do like pay PR through Asher. That's when I just grinded. I found email lists that I sent our EP off to everyone, being like, whoever will take it. Awesome. And somehow that charted on the college radio charts, thanks to people like you taking the time to play it. So,
you've hung out with these guys and you didn't even introduce me prior?
No, we've never hung out before. Never hung out before.
I'm just joshing.
Yeah, but what I did then, and what I still like to do is I like to find lesser known artists that deserve attention, and I do that when I look at events, at shows. So if there was a show that you played or anything like that, if you played any events, that's how I caught wind of it. I'm not sure how I caught wind of it back then, but then as I started digging, Ray and Nate, both of you, and Nate especially, I found that you are such a big part of helping cultivate the scene in Medicine Hat, and that's the coolest thing about everything that I looked into. But I want to talk more about that. I want to talk about Octave Studios, your production company, your music production company, and what you do with that. But before we get into that, Ray and Nate, I want to talk about the pilgrimage. I want to talk about the new Final Fantasy X inspired. Am I right by that when I say that?
Yes. are 100% correct.
Final
I
Fantasy.
love that concept. That's I loved it.
Yeah, so Final Fantasy X inspired. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I can let Ray explain how that all came about, because, wow, that was quite the evening where the pieces just kind of fell together.
Okay, so like around the time when shortly after I joined and after COVID, we decided that we were just going to hit the studio entirely, and we started laying down the guitars for tracks. I was just hanging out at my local comic store one day, and I was looking for stuffed animals, and I found a stuffy of Yuna from Final Fantasy X, but like the 10-2 version. But I was like, oh my god, it's Yuna! Like I bought it immediately, and pretty much just like was hanging out with her like in the studio as we were like listening back on tracks and stuff. And we hadn't had lyrics written yet. You know, we were just like we were laying down all the instrumentals and the synths and everything. And I was very, very drunk. I think I like took a bunch of psychedelics too at the time.
Jesus.
And I pretty much looked up at everybody like holding up like the stuffy and was just like, we should do this about Final Fantasy X. It's one of my favorite games growing up. And then it was just like, that was one of my favorite games growing up too. What the hell? We need to do this. And I was just like, we do need to do this. And like all of a sudden, like fast forward the pilgrimage.
Yeah.
Great.
Beautiful.
What I want to do for folks watching right now, I also like to listen to some of your tunes, and maybe we can dissect it some. Let's jump into the first single you released for the EP. Correct me if I'm saying it wrong. Is it You Yevon?
You Yevon.
Okay, yep. Awesome. So I'm going to pull this up here, and I want to take a listen to the song. If there's anything you want to add while we're going through the track, I'll pause and we can talk a bit about it. But I do want to give the folks a chance who are watching right now to listen to the show, to listen to the music, listen to the song, and then let's go back. I'll pull you up on the side so everyone can see you. And then I want to go back and talk more about the Final Fantasy connection and what these things are about. Because I'm going to have lots of questions, because I only touched Final Fantasy on the Super Nintendo. I did not touch anything beyond the Super Nintendo in terms of Final Fantasy. So
we're going to let him do a lot of the talking.
I have a lot of questions. All right, so You Yevon, the first single released for the EP, The Pilgrimage, from No Hope from the Lost. Let's do this. Okay, I'll pause it there. Is there anything you want to add so far? Talk about the track so far.
Not really. I kind of want to see what you guys want to pull out of it and see what it kind of pings at and pokes at, if you know what I mean.
Right. One thing I noticed, One thing I noticed from a guitar standpoint, the gent. Oh, what's going on there? Nice.
Hell yeah.
That's Cuphead, right?
Yes, that is Cuphead.
That's so cool. I really like that. Ray. So I noticed the very very genty sounding. So is that rhythmic gent part? Is that something that Ray brought to the table, or Nate? Is that you or?
This was actually the last musical contribution that the previous guitarist Cesar Hicken contributed.
Okay.
This is the basic, I guess, skeleton of the song. Was actually a track that we wrote together back in 2014 when we were just hanging out a bunch and jiving. And a band that Ray and I have both been in at separate times. Me with Cesar, and then Ray when both of us had left this project. That song had gone into their repertoire when I was in there, but after they kind of did their rebranding and reshaping, it left. And it really much suited like the direction and sound that I wanted to go with. Cesar was still briefly like with us towards the tail end and then gave us our blessing to keep it. Same with the guys from the other band, just being like, you know what? We're never going to play it. We're never going to use it. It's your song to begin with. Go ham. And so what we did is we took the original skeleton, and then Ray and I both went and just dissected it a bit more and went, how can we make things move a bit more? How can we add or take away or change elements of the song to really make this what we want it to be?
I added in a whole bunch of stuff. Like I actually like the whole like chorus and post chorus and everything is something like I wrote entirely.
Okay.
As well as like a lot of the like harmonic sounds and like screeches and fucking like things on
okay,
guitar
yeah, the real dirty sounds.
Like, I came up with kind of thing, a lot of the dynamics and squeals and like all of that. There's even a Nate riff in there, like the middle part where like he does a really long scream. That's actually like that's some stuff that actually no, that's like one of my riffs right there. Yeah. But like the riff before that is actually like all his stuff, where it's like and stuff like that. So actually like all like he came up with that on guitar. I ended up like laying all the final drafts on guitar, but like it's crazy how Yevon is like a combination of different people's takes on guitar, like put into one finalized thing.
Sure, lots of different. Go ahead. Vito.
I felt insanely responsible recording the final draft of that song.
Do you sing on that one, Ray? Or is that you in the chorus?
Okay, so like Nate does a majority of the singing, but I have a couple of parts where like I take over. So the part where it's like lost in the illusion, blinded by your fear. At the end, that's like the part where like I take over for a bit.
We'll hear that in a bit. Okay, yeah.
Cool.
Oh, awesome.
Ray adds a lot of really wicked harmonizing background cleans in both this song and I believe in Jack 2. We have some in there. And down the line, we're going to be transitioning to like letting Ray actually take that part from time to time if her voice suits it more, because we have very different vocal approaches.
Sure.
So if we can utilize both, that just expands our sound.
Yeah. We're working on a new song, actually, right now on our next EP that we're working on, and like Nate was nice enough to let me take the chorus on one of the songs. So
beautiful. Oh, excellent! Yeah, I like to hear that.
That's awesome.
So another thing that stands out in terms of the lyrics, one thing that stands out to me, and like I said, I discovered that this is all. I didn't realize at first it was a Final Fantasy X themed EP until I started doing a little bit of research, because I like I said, Final Fantasy, I know about the old games, but I haven't really. I didn't have a PlayStation 1. I think if you had a PlayStation 1, you probably got Final Fantasy 7, and that gets you got a lot of people on board with the later Final Fantasy games. Is the
and
PS1?
PC too.
Oh,
PC
fair enough.
One too.
Fair enough. But is I was looking through the lyrics and like there's the cursing, like there's like when I think of Final Fantasy, I don't think of cursing, you know. So
yeah.
Can you explain how that fits in with the theme of this particular song?
Well, the theme of this song is because it's titled The Pilgrimage, and what I did with this is I really wanted it to almost be like a prelude to the game, because all of this is stuff that has led to the events starting Titus getting to Sphera. Like Sin coming and taking him out as Anarchin, spitting him out in Bavel, and all this stuff.
Okay, you speak in Greek.
Okay, the countries. So our main character gets taken out of this one place known as Xanarkand and gets spat out in this other due to this entity known as Sin. And if you look at our cover art, that image in the background, that is Sin. That is this giant monster that just comes and destroys everything.
Right.
And the idea of the pilgrimage is to destroy him and bring calm to the land. But one thing the character doesn't realize is, to these people in this country, Xanarkand has been destroyed and gone for 1,000 years. Okay. So Titus actually exists in what is essentially a sacrificial dream state, because Yevon, or Yevon, basically was at war with this country 1,000 years prior, couldn't accept defeat, went fuck it, sacrificed everyone to kind of preserve him in this dreamlike state, and then created Sin as this protector. So in the actual reality of everything, this giant whale monstrosity is just coming out and destroying all this land, and the people of that country think, oh, well, he must have destroyed Xanarkand, and that's because they were really advanced. Therefore, we can't get too advanced in our technologies, and we have to remain grounded in our spiritual and religious belief in this entity known as Yevon, because they basically just created a religion around this, and all it really is Sin basically exists as the protector of this dream state, which is keeping Yevon alive. And the pilgrimage is just to repeat that cycle, and it's actually gone through 3 times. So if you go, it's a very structural song. I'm sorry,
Vito, can you repeat that back to me? What he just told us? Sorry,
it was.
I apologize.
I love it.
I'll give you the short form into how that interprets into the song.
Hi, Nate.
So if you notice, the song is very.
Oh, Nate Trash is here. Hey.
Hey, Nate.
Hi.
The song is very verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. And if you listen, you hear a heightened sense of aggression and almost like hopelessness in the vocal in each of those verses as it progresses. And that's to film each different summoner's pilgrimage. Because prior to the events of the game, there have been 3 different summoners, individuals who have taken it upon themselves to try to bring calm to the land, who have gone through this process and then found out right as they have to. Didn't fail, successful. What you have to do to defeat Sin is essentially sacrifice one of your companions. So if I was a summoner, I would have to sacrifice Ray to become the new Aeon that would go and take on Sin and kill Sin. But then Yevon would merely attach himself to Ray to create the new form of Sin, thus repeating the cycle. So I sacrificed my life to try to allow this to happen, sacrifice her life to try to kill it, only for her to become the new thing that kills everything.
Got you. Okay, so it's a repeating cycle. It just keeps going and going and going. I got you. And you Yevon is created this creature, right? This whale creature thing, and this is the final boss of the game.
Yes, Yevon is the final boss.
Okay. He who crafts the souls of the dead into unholy armor, an armor called Sin, clad in it, Yevon is invincible. Okay, sounds pretty badass. Looks like a bug thing, hey?
He's just a small little parasite.
Oh.
He's all about self-preservation.
Okay, that's all it is, hey? And that parasite just keeps getting passed down to these different heroes or sacrificial heroes, I guess?
Aeons. Do you remember Shiva, Bohnet? Those guys. Those are the Aeons.
Okay, vaguely.
Yeah.
Vaguely.
The OP magic monster that you could summon and be like, obliterate everyone for me because I can't do it. Thank you, Miss Ice Lady. Thank you very much.
Okay, cool. All right, sweet. How about we check out some more of the song? I do want to hear the part where Ray sings. I don't think we got to that yet. So when we get to that, as soon as it's over, Ray, could you jump in and let us know where that is?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Let's do this. Okay, yeah. I heard that. Actually, I like that. I like that a lot. In the future track that you're going to be doing, where you're singing a bit more, Ray. I'm wondering, are we gonna? Because it's very layered. It's almost hard to hear you in that part of the song. Is it going to be a little more forward and center, maybe in the new track? Or?
Yeah, I'll be dropping down a lot more for that one. I wanted to create a blend, but in the future, because Ray feels a lot more comfortable as a vocalist too.
Sure.
I have a lot more of my own parts in the like the new song too, because like there's a couple of parts where I sing where there's a bunch of screams underneath it too as well that I did. So like that whole part is like, you know, it's like Nate and I switching off in that part, but like this next part that I'm doing is like in the next EP is going to be like multiple layers of just like all me doing like all sorts of different shit.
It's so cool how the two of you found each other too to make this music, because it seems like there's so much passion behind it, and such a alignment in your interests and what you want to make music about. So that's to me that's pretty damn exciting. So you mentioned the album art, so let me actually pull that up. So, and like you said, that's the in the background there. That's the, what's it called again? That
is Sin.
Sin. That is Sin. So that's okay. That is Sin. Okay, great. So Sin.
I love how you made it look like the PlayStation game.
Right.
Same font and everything.
Actually, like I hired my good friend Fadhil Farianto to do the artwork for Sin, but I did the layout for everything else. I actually designed the No Hope for the Lost logo and then did the album artwork and everything else that you see there. But I was like, I need someone to do a good illustration of Sin. Like, I'm a good graphic designer, but I'm not the best drawer in the world, you know, so I needed someone to draw up something sick like that for me. He got that whipped out in a couple of days for me, and and then we got that. It's my favorite collab effort I've done so far.
And we wanted to make it look as close as we could to like the Japanese version of the game's box art. Not that it's Western art, but they always like would put the hero up front and show a little bit of stuff. But versus the Japanese box art up until Final Fantasy 15 was very like this, like. You feel it's almost like a storybook cover in a way. You know what I mean? Like those old school ways, like you're going to go in on an adventure within this.
Gotcha. So the next song I want to check out, so we're going to, I guess, start going in order with the album, I believe. Oh, maybe not. Sorry, that's not the game on. I meant to pull up Braska, but I pulled up the wrong track, so just give me one moment here. Let me find this. So Lord Braska, so that's what the next song is about, is Lord Braska. Who is Lord? And try to give us, explain to me like I'm 5 and I've never played this game, because I've never played this game. Who is Braska? Yeah.
The main character, okay, you know what,
Lord Braska is the daddy of the main character's love interest, who sacrificed himself on the last pilgrimage. And also sacrificed our main character's daddy to become Sin. But he doesn't know that until very later in the game.
It's the father of the stuffed animal character that I have, Yuna.
Oh, nice.
Okay, gotcha. Lord Braska. Very cool. Okay, Braska. So, yeah, let's check out that. Let's check a little bit of that track out. Yeah, let's do this. Oh, there we go. Such a difference from the other song already.
The bass just sounds so good.
Sorry, what was that?
Nate did all the bass. He killed it.
Thank you.
It just has a good tone to it. Like you found like that perfect tone, and it just like thumps along. Beautiful.
Crippled by our motivations, rational distaste, yet we all stray away, falling deep into the portraits that we paint, and falling deeper still.
Speeds up.
The ink seeps through my veins, swaying through this vacant portrait. I can only vaguely
Oh, we're almost done.
drove me here,
That whole like last part there is that's like Nate and I duetting there, like that whole like pretty much all the doubled vocals on there is like the majority of the song is like Nate and I just like switching back and forth and then duetting and going together.
No,
It
nice.
sounds great. When I heard that, I was listening to it today at work, and it was just a nice little breakup. And I just like stopped. I was like, "What the hell was that?" I listened to it 3 times over because I just couldn't get enough of that tone. It just you're really good at recording, dude. Like obviously you have a
Yeah.
studio, but it just it blew me away. I think that's one of my favorite songs for sure.
I actually have to add on to this too. I am on that song actually, and Unileska. I actually handled all of the synths and song vocals, while Nate did actually all of the guitars in Braska and Unileska.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay,
he's a
great.
guitar player in both of those songs.
And as someone who suffers horribly from imposter syndrome, that just like made my day. So thank you, good sir.
Yeah.
Dude, and you know what? Like, I don't want to say I like have a bit of an ear for it, but two of my best buds are sound engineers, so they've kind of like trained me to like really listen to songs. And now when I really listen to them, it's like I can tell like a good track from not. And yeah, I just because once and I knew you had a studio too, and I knew you recorded it yourself. So while I was listening to it, I was like, fuck, this guy knows his shit. And he played, I don't know, I'm totally like sucking on your balls right now, but like, you play drums, you kill it at guitar, you kill it at, you're just good. And yeah, I just
like to
got,
play.
I'm crucial about that too. Like, I'm pretty serious about my guitar tones and stuff. And being serious about my guitar tones, that makes me pretty serious about my bassist not sucking also.
absolutely.
There's a reason why I have the bass's lift banner. I aim to be the
Bass's lift.
Ricker would throw out of his
It's like,
fucking studio
oh,
if he showed up.
A lot of guitarists are super cocky with their stuff, and like I'll be the first to admit, like it's fun making fun of bassists, but at the end of the day, kind of thing, like all of your favorite guitar tones, all of them have a
Bass.
solid bass tone behind it, and
Yes.
that's why you like it as much as you do.
Yep.
Absolutely.
All right,
Yeah.
let's quickly check out a little bit of the next track, Unileska. I want to check it.
Glad and just let you guys all enjoy
Good,
this. It's nice and short.
I just want to keep have a couple of words with this.
Sure.
So Nate did the guitars for this. He came up with a couple riffs, and I pretty much locked myself in my room after hearing the riffs. I got him to send me the samples of them, and I came up pretty much with like everything else. I have this dream where like I want to do like stuff for video games and or movies one day. And I feel like Unileska was like my first like attempt at being able to like show everybody like what that would sound like if I were to do it, kind of thing. Like it's almost like an attempt at me scoring. The vocoder vocals on it is actually me singing on it entirely.
Oh, nice.
And just to add emphasis to like why I like this track so much, the guitars I recorded were not intended for anything. It was a simple like scale practice session because I was taking a theory from producer's course, and it was write a 3-chord progression, write a guitar progression over top of that, and then Ray just comes downstairs. What's that? Send it.
Yeah, I was literally just like, I like that. I vibe with it a lot. I'm getting a lot of ideas in my head right now. Please send that to me. I
That's
think I
awesome.
have an idea. And like literally 2 hours time later, I had a like mastered track sent to him.
Wow.
And we were just like, whoa, this sounds like this is from a movie. And the reviewers are even saying like, this sounds like this belongs in a video game. And like, I almost like cried at that point because it was just kind of like, this is exactly what I was going for, and people are getting it.
And
Sorry,
this,
I'm
in my
like,
opinion, is what ties the EP together. Without this track, I don't think the idea of the concept and everything ebbing and flowing the way it does could have worked. I think this track is fundamentally the link to hold everything together.
Great. The one thing I want to do too is I want to read this description here because for me at least, reading this pulls together all of the complicated Final Fantasy history that you were spouting off earlier, Nate. My brain kind of shut off for a second there when you were explaining because I'm like, wait, with the thing and the... But okay, so Lady Unileska is a non-player character and antagonist from Final Fantasy X, who also briefly appears in Final Fantasy X2. She was the first summoner to defeat Sin, which we talked about, Sin, and bring forth the calm. The first. So you said it keeps repeating over and over again. She was the very first. Interesting.
But
Okay,
there's
so
a twist. But there's a twist.
Oh, no.
She is also Yu Yevon's daughter. She was just away from Xanarkand at the time, and upon defeating Sin, realized what the entire process was, and thus began the religion of Yevon thus creating the cycle of the pilgrimage.
Oh, my mind is so blown. Like, this makes me want to go back and like play it. Just so I'm like get on your level. It's so in depth.
Vito wish he would have smoked up before the show, I think, after that.
I'm not gonna lie, I had like a tiny bit, but like not enough to get distracted by snacks.
That's good. Okay, so awesome. Let's listen to this track. Like you said, Nate, this is you really helped bring the concept of the whole album together, a whole EP together, I should say. So let's check it out. Okay, completely different than like we went from the last song we're gonna listen to. Ject is very much in the same vein, I'd say. I would say as you, Yevon, in terms of the heaviness and the insanity and the craziness and the metal side of things. And we listened to Braska, which is so calm and chill, sort of a very different vibe. And this has like this synthetic vocal. It's just such a different take on this.
Okay, I'm not gonna like get on this like too much or whatever, but like pretty pretty much like I'm transitioning, and that was kind of like my opportunity to like have this like airy robot girl voice with a vocoder and like sound really expressive and singy with it or whatever, and really get out like a nice kind of like soft kind of thing with it.
And within the contrast of the song, I really like how it adds, like you said, that synthetic vibe, because like it feels calm, but there's something off about it with that syntheticness to it, right? And that's leading into Ject. That's exactly kind of what we want, because we'll get into the Ject thing when we get to Ject.
It's supposed to be like calming, yet like unnerving at the same time.
There's an undertone in it.
It's just kind of like foreshadowing always doesn't have to be like a creepy, unsettling thing. It can be like a humble preparing.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Ray, because we're talking about the themes of the music and about what it's, it's about Final Fantasy and it's about video games, but the fact that you've injected kind of that personal touch of your own journey, and it's just interesting to I'll be interested to hear as well as things as new music from the two of you and what you come up with in the future, so and see how that progresses as well. So very cool. Thank you for sharing that. Let's listen to more of the song, and I'll try to really tune into what you just said. So thanks for that. Ooh, freaky.
I love that. I love that shit.
Oh, jeez. It's so scary at the end.
Where it gets all creepy at the end.
Yeah.
I took a bunch of Nate's vocals there actually from like Ject, and that's like turned backwards and then like stacked on top of each other and like just a wall of sound in a bunch of different ways until like the way it sounds like a bunch of like backwards voices and like this tornado of noise, like getting louder and louder and louder until eventually it turns back around into the beginning of Ject, where it's just like a whirlwind of voices, like bellowing out the chorus of the song before it begins.
And then Ray, you keyboarding, so that you are the synth. You played the synth part and all that. You wrote all that. Hey?
I played the
Nice.
synthesizers. I'm gonna tell myself right here. That's a really nice piano part that I did. I can play piano somewhat, but I am by no means a pianist. I can come up with amazing like compositions, like orchestrally and like for piano and stuff. I gotta like to make the most amazing stuff I can though. I gotta program that stuff.
Okay.
In Contact. And program that in Contact. I did.
Okay.
I'm just like I know my chords and I know my melodies, you know. So like, thank God for MIDI.
Hey,
I
sometimes
love
here's
honesty.
ways to get the stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
And you said it leads into Ject, and then you have a music video for that. So we're gonna watch that here in a little bit. And
I'm not
this
gonna take credit for something I didn't do, you know.
that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. So Ject is who's Ject? Boss
Jack is
character.
Titus's father. He is what is known as Sin throughout a majority of the game. That is the main
okay.
plot twist, is Titus coming to terms and realizing that this entity known as Sin is actually his father. And the reason
Spoiler.
he's here is because Ject used what little sanity and control he had over Sin to basically create a portal for Titus to leave Xanarkand, to come to Spira, to kill him and end this entire cycle.
Ject is a tall, muscular man with a tendency to drink heavily. He wields a large black sword in battle. Let's reading this description here. Awesome. Okay, let's check out the music video for that. If you have anything to add about the shooting in this video, you can let us know. It looks like kind of a do-it-yourself. I'm assuming
Very much.
during these times, during the pandemic and all that, you can only do so much. So a very do-it-yourself type video. But a lot of bands are doing that. Another good example was we recently had the band Immunize from Edmonton on the show, and they had a do-it-yourself type music video, black background, just a black background, and their aesthetic is they look like orderlies, and then the lead vocalist looks like he's wearing a straitjacket. He's like a mental insane person, right? So it actually works for them because their aesthetic is very they have these costumes, and they have this kind of cool aesthetic with these white outfits. Just having this black background, have it cut between them, actually worked really, really well. So I know, and it's the same with this. You got a lot, I think, out of probably a very simple setup. I'm assuming you got a lot out of it. So let's check a bit of it out, and then if you want to jump in and tell us how you ended up shooting this video, that would be really cool.
Oh, yeah.
There's those vocals.
It is the patient
Okay, I'll pause there. I missed earlier in the chat. Nate Trash said, "I fucking smoked enough for all of you." Oh yeah,
I don't know if you have yet, Matey boy. We'll get there
So
soon.
thanks for that.
We don't
yeah,
even know if this is a podcast we can smoke on, Nate.
you can. Yes, you
Yeah.
can. Yes, you can.
Oh.
The
I
only,
hit my vape pen like 3 times.
yeah. The
Immediately like, all right, let's do this.
yeah. This honestly for rules, don't do anything illegal and don't be an asshole. Those are the only really two
Those are good
rules
rules. I
on
like
the
those
pod,
rules.
on the show. You know, like
You mean I can't pull out the bat on the? I'm just kidding.
You can pull out the soup though.
I do not do that. That is gross.
Okay, so and I don't want it just to come out wrong, but this is easily the strongest track I think on the EP. Personally, like I love this. And Ray, is this more of a collaboration of you and Nate? Because you said previously the other tracks had well, not the other tracks. I apologize. The you Yevon had the old guitar, had an old guitarist in it. Is this solely the two of you this song or?
Okay, so like this is Jekt we're on, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so actually, Jekt used to it was released before as an official song,
So
like
was Braska,
in
technically.
a very like old sense. Braska and Jekt actually used to be one song called
Okay.
The Painted World on a really old solo project EP that Nate did years ago.
Okay.
And it was gonna get performed live as a Deadlight song, so like we started recording it pretty much. And when I came in as a guitarist and started coming up with all these ideas, and then came in with my synthesizer and everything, and once the Pilgrimage came together, we were pretty much just like, hey, what if we wrote a whole entire EP, divided the soft part and the heavy part together, made it the intro track, and then put this as the
Okay.
end of the EP or whatever. And from that point onward, after we wrote Unalesca, we were able to write like one continuous thing with a reprising melody with it and stuff. Like so the difference between The Painted World and Jekt is like a huge one. Obviously, like some of the riffs got like reimagined and changed entirely since I joined. And like there wasn't even any like synthesizers until like I joined.
What's really cool is in some of
Okay.
the riffs you can actually hear almost the A-B versions of the riff. You'll hear progression A, which is my original version of the riff, and then it'll evolve into something a bit more Ray's like style and vernacular on the guitar, and she'll evolve it slowly as the
Okay.
piece continues, which I thought was really cool because for me, like I said with the imposter syndrome thing, like my first solo LP, because I put 14 tracks on there, it was crap. I did bad. I did real bad. I did it completely DIY.
I did vocals on it on one song.
That's
and
still
I
my
did,
favorite
and,
track.
And like I also am not proud of my vocal performance on it, but like I still remember it as like a really good time.
Yeah, it was one of those. I didn't want to program anything. I didn't want to edit anything. I wanted to be. This is me at my rawest. I'm going to do what I can. Maybe do some tweaking here and there. Vocally, I wasn't there yet. As a drummer and a guitarist and a bassist, I wasn't there. But some of the songs I thought had like promise. Maybe if there was another two versions
Sure.
of them, maybe they go to something.
Sure.
Okay.
worthwhile.
Before you shit on yourself here too hard though, like we got to talk about this though, because there's a lot of solo artists that will like release a lot of solo material and music. Almost 95% of it is with programmed drums or whatever. As much as he says that it sounds bad, and as much as it might actually sound bad, he actually
As much
plays
as it might
all the
actually
drums
sound
for it. Which is
Right, he
something
does the
not
drums.
a lot of people from 2011 onward can say.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Speaking of vocals, Vito, you and I were talking before the show, and you wanted to bring up Nate's vocals, and they definitely shine on this track because it's cleans, harsh vocals. Vito, I'll just throw it over to you because you wanted to talk to Nate about his vocals.
Yeah, so first of all, I really admire that you can do clean and like hard screams. But the screams, dude, I don't know what it is, if it's like the sound system in my car or what. But when I was listening to it, your screams sound smooth. Like screaming isn't a smooth thing, but they sound buttery. Like they have a smoothness to them that I haven't heard in vocals before. And I don't know if that's your voice and your technique or if it's something you do in post. But I just like the sound of your scream. It's just smooth. Like it doesn't make sense. Like It's just smooth.
I really appreciate that because as much like I'm really proud of my cleans. I'm gonna just say that right now. I am very proud of where I've come on my cleans, but my screams, like if you met me 5 years ago, I wouldn't be doing any of the stuff. I'd be stuck in my
Okay.
because I was very much just a high vocalist. I'd always let my buddies handle those because I'm like, I don't want to get into gutturals. I don't want to do that. But I've always focused on being a dynamic vocalist. I got into like Swedish melodic death metal, so like Soilwork, In Flames, Scar Symmetry, and then I got into bands like Dream Theater, Periphery, Tesseract, Monuments, Tool. Yeah, no, that's. I got this at their show.
Nice.
Oh, pull that up. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'll put it up for you.
Periphery, yeah.
Bulb's pick.
Nice.
So I got that when they came to Calgary. That was my favorite show. I went to Matt Halpern's drum clinic before the show. Just sat in on that to learn some stuff because I want to be good at my craft, and I feel understanding drums, even if I can't execute them fully, to that. Oh my god, fully to that degree is worth. It's worth going in and sitting in and being around people that actually live drums, like people that fundamentally live and breathe that instrument. That was worth the trip alone. Next to like fighting to the front to sing Scarlet on the rail while they were going ham, or going to Mark Holcomb's clinic the next day at Guitar Center. Like,
Ray, did you polish off all those beer already? Does that
Yes.
just during the interview, like so far, like?
Yes.
I didn't even notice.
I just noticed it at this point, which is why I had to be like, oh, okay, we've been hanging out.
But to quickly go back to the screams, I think I took away from it was I came from an era where I took a lot of different vocal styles and tried to figure it out, which the era before didn't have the luxury of. We had a bunch of guys that had no idea how to properly use their diaphragm. They like very few people have heard of Melissa Cross, or Mary Zimmer has a lot of stuff that I focus on as well that she brings up on her channel and with some other courses. And I feel that's just, I'm the product of just someone treating screaming like an instrument. I want to have range. I want to hit tones. I want to create emotion and feeling out of different things. If I want to strike,
Whoa,
I can.
Good.
Like,
Nice.
It's bringing out different elements of music, just as you could clean singing. Like using that emotion in proper ways.
So I want to let folks know, if you go to the No Hope for the Lost YouTube channel, there are a ton of vocal covers on there. So if you look at the videos on there, you do a ton of vocal covers. So you challenge yourself to imitate or try to find a way to sound good with all these different types of songs, vocal styles. So that's probably, that exercise is great because that's probably how you've been able to develop as a vocalist, being able to do all those different covers.
What got me impressed lately is he started out by like posting those individual videos of vocal covers on, but what he's been doing recently is he's going on Twitch, and for anybody listening, his Twitch is No Hope for the Nate.
Okay.
This is really impressive, but he's been doing the vocal cover thing by like pretty much just going on live stream and is doing a bunch of them back to back, taking requests, and then just like you know, like doing vocals is like one thing, but then just doing like one shot takes of like a front to back song is like, that's the challenge, right? Because like it's easy to sing a lot of, like,
too,
really
right?
hard parts, but to do the hard part of a song 3 minutes into a 4-minute song, that's like, so he's just been sitting here going on for like half an hour to an hour at a time, and just like,
I went 2 hours on the last one, and I could really feel it by the end because I did the Fall of Ideals by All That Remains, and I could feel it by the Weak-Willed and Indictment at the end because they're my least familiar tracks with the album, and I was like, shit, some stuff's falling apart, but we can get through it. I feel strong in my screams. If I minimize the singing, I can get through another hour of this. Then I start taking requests, and I don't know if you guys have heard of a band called the Bunny the Bear, but they're they used to be a dual vocalist band. It's very like transcore back in like 2011, 2012, where that like wave of post-Attack bands was coming. Okay. And they have this big guy who can sing like a high, and then they have this little guy who's like, Like,
Okay.
high octave B vocals type or whatever, but
Yeah.
it was like a very it's like this like big dude that can like sing like the fat lady pretty much. It's
And-
nuts.
a buddy of mine, like one of my best friends from high school, is watching on Twitch and he suggests it. And I'm pumped. Like, I'm enjoying the stream. I have people watching. We're all engaged. We're having fun. And I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And then I get to right before the vocals start and it finally realizes, oh, fuck, when I did the video for this, I did 2 separate takes because there's 2 separate vocalists. All right, guys, forewarning, I'm going to fuck up at least half the choruses. Here we go.
Okay, cool. That's fun. Awesome. So again, one more time. What's your Twitch handle?
No
hope
hope
for the
for the Nate.
No Hope for the Nate. N-A-T. No Hope for the Nate. Okay, awesome. Man, that's a
N-A-T-E.
N-A-T-E.
E at the end.
I think, yeah, sorry if I missed that. So yeah, that's a great idea, actually. Like, I could see people really catching on to that. Someone just taking requests for vocal covers on a live stream. That's a smart thing to do. And since you've done a number of them, it probably gives you a bit of well, it's still, that's vulnerable just to go there and just like, I'm going to just try a song I've never tried before live in front of a bunch of people.
Too. Like, so I got like my own little setup in my room. I'm trying to get the OBS thing down. I just set up my own Twitch and I spent today doing like a crapshoot on Twitch. Like, while I don't have everybody added on like getting it all set up. And like, I tried his thing where like I was going to go on like Twitch for like an undisclosed amount of time pretty much and do vocal covers to some of my favorite songs. And like, that's hard to keep up with. And I was just doing it with like a cloud lifter plugged in to like an SM57 like you do right there.
Okay, gotcha. Yep.
And like I'm sitting there trying to balance screamed and singed vocals into this microphone together and just like going off of just
You've
like
got this wall of
distance and
sound with your
everything.
scream, though. Like, that's the difference between Ray and I. Like you brought up the dynamic butteriness of it. I'm very controlled. Ray is the type of person where if she were to scream, I'd tell her to step back about 12 feet and I'd turn the gain all the way down. And then we'd go.
Huh. That's some power.
Right? I just
Yeah.
like I can't help it. Like like you ever just meet one of those people where you're just constantly cutting them off like, hey, inside voice. Oh my goodness. Like you're speaking quietly. and
Speaking
you're-
of cutting off, I'd like to let you I'd like to tell you guys about my favorite No Hope for the Lost song. We talked about this before the show. And you were curious what it was. You had a guess. And you guessed 100% correctly. Through a Prism Lens is easily my favorite No Hope for the Lost track.
I'd have to shout out Mats Ost. He is the guy who wrote the instrumental. He is a buddy of mine from Germany that I met through the Ultimate Recording Machine forum.
I didn't play a fucking thing on the song.
Okay, sorry, Ray. That's my favorite.
Okay. It's a really good thing that got released before I joined, and like I
Right.
really enjoy it, you know.
Right. So
You'll be seeing me playing it live on guitar.
So Matt's Ost wrote all the instrumental part of it, and then your vocals on this, Nate. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I want to go ahead and play this. Vito, did you had a chance to listen to this track yet, or no?
I believe so. Yeah, I listened to all this stuff.
Okay. So
that's a lyric video for it on our YouTube if you want to put that on. It's still titled as Nate Bohnet featuring Matt Ost, but we got permission to take that as our own. So
sure. Okay.
The
Yeah.
thumbnail says
I'll find
No Hope
that.
for the Lost through Prism Lens, but the video has the artwork that we had made up for the single when I just released it on its own.
Okay. Yeah. Let me find that. I did
Hey,
not
Nate, I
realize.
also noticed,
Go ahead.
I think it was on your Instagram, the personal one, you do like little like voice clinics too. Like you'll do the voice, just like breathing techniques and stuff. I thought that was super cool. You've obviously put some time into actually understanding how to properly do things with your voice.
The moment I found out that the screaming is no different from infants yelling nonstop, I was like, okay, I can figure this out. I can use this.
Totally. Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but this lady, a vocal coach, showing like how to use your diaphragm, like you were saying, like when she's like blowing bubbles with a straw into a glass and yep. Yeah, it's impressive how we finally figured that out as people don't blow their voices out.
That longevity, I feel Caleb from Beartooth and formerly of Attack Attack is the best example of how a vocalist can develop once they learn how to use their voice. If you listen to the self-titled Attack Attack album, and then the third Attack Attack album, and then anything Beartooth has released, which is literally just him. Like he writes a majority of that, or at least the first EP he did. I think maybe his bandmates help him more now, but if you listen to him just as a vocalist across those bands, it really shows just how intense of a change and how much more clarity and power you can get out of your voice once you start treating it a certain way.
Absolutely. You got that video queued up, Mr. Wally?
I do. I kind of made a little bit of observation. It seems like Nate, you're a humble person because you seem to focus more on other folks' projects than your own. I think you spent just as much time talking about other folks' projects, other music, other artists than you did your own stuff. So yeah, that's pretty. It's just an observation. It's pretty cool. You're very pumped for other folks' music. So. And another thing too, I want to quickly mention from the YouTube page, from your YouTube page, and Hope for the Lost. And I think this is an upload from your Octave Studios YouTube page that you had once upon a time. The tips and tricks for new bands. I watched some of this. I watched a little bit of these, and I thought this was excellent because when you are a brand new band, say you have a group of young kids form a band at a high school or who knows what, or maybe just young adults, just. How to get started, tricks for new bands, writing and demoing, practicing as a new band, booking and preparing your first show, preparing for the studio. This is really interesting stuff that I'm sure a lot of bands have to learn the hard way, right, over time, and really screwing up and making mistakes.
That's the point behind it, was making those. I just want to quickly shout out Jason Campbell from Obsidian. I saw that he jumped in. I've had some intense talks with this guy about Meshuggah and just intense tech music at Loud as Hell. So watching him jump in, glad to see you're here. And you're not wrong. A lot of those things that I said you shouldn't do in those videos, I say because I done did them.
Right.
I done let my own pride and ego get in the way at times and made stupid decisions that sent me back. Or I've watched friends do it, or just people in the scene do it. And we can't be perfect. We all make mistakes, but if we keep these things in mind, we can put our best foot forward more often than we don't. And I felt like it was very handy for me to have people like Vannon and people like my buddy Kevin Oscom, who was in my very first band, and he was the other sound tech that really helped bring me into what I do. Actually, this used to be where he lived. When I went through a few things a few years ago, he brought me in here and then basically just let me take over, which I still love to this day because this just feels like the place to be right now when it comes to, like you said, creating and vibing and doing what needs to be done.
Right.
But having that resource out there in that instance of hey, remember that these are the things you should be focusing on. These are the things that maybe you should be doing and putting your effort in. Know that there's more to it than just your music if you want to get out of the garage in any way, shape, or form.
Right. Cool. So I do have that video queued up, Vito. The No Hope for the Lost Through a Prism Lens, featuring Mats Ost. Where's Mats from again? You said Germany. Okay. Yeah, this is stellar. I really, really enjoy this, and your vocals on this are quite good too. Sorry, Ray, that you're not part of this particular song.
It's okay. The whole time that it came out, before I was even a part of the band, I was standing it pretty hard. So sweet. By the time I joined, I was like, yay! You know what I mean?
I get to play it. Yay! Yeah.
But anyway, this is a kick-ass track. Let's take a listen. Earlier, Nate, you mentioned bands like Scar Symmetry, Soilwork. I also even think like I don't know why they get a bad rap. Sometimes Killswitch Engage. I get a little bit of all of that.
Just Under the Descent is I could stand that record till the days come home. I love Jesse. I love Howard. Adam D is, in my opinion, what I want to be. Like, right. The more I look back at like the records I love, I always see he's the guy under the produced by credits, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Okay, like, can we talk about for a moment how like Killswitch Engage ended up being like one of metal's most like influential bands of all time? Like, I only mean this on like, okay, so one of my favorite bands right now that I'm listening to is kind of newer. I don't know if you guys know about them, but they're called See You Space Cowboy.
Nope, never heard of them. Wow.
And they started off as like, they kind of like started off on like the huge like sasscore / like mathcore wave with their first album.
Okay.
And then like went like really throwback like melodic metalcore, and like their most recent full length ended up sounding a lot like kind of like Converge rooted inspirations, but there's just like the End of Heartache era Killswitch Engage riffs and singing parts like all over it.
Nice.
And,
I like that.
They're releasing a split EP that comes out next month with a band called If I Die First, and they've only capitalized on that at this point. Like, there's this huge thing going on right now. Like, there's a huge metalcore revival right now, I've noticed, of like the melodic side of it, I've noticed, because a lot of like hardcore bands have been going for a metalcore revival thing on like the metallic hardcore side.
And I love
a lot of bands are going big on the melodics. Check out See You Space Cowboy, If I Die First. They're all like, If I Die First has members from First to Last in there even too. So like, there's even people like from behind the first movement in on the second movement in this. And then there's another band called like Wrist Meat Razor. They're called, and they're very reminiscent not only of that Killswitch Engage sound that I was just talking about, but there's like a ton of like the Poison era Bullet for My Valentine's riff and like August Burns Red riffs, and like it's just crazy that like we're like this far along like the timeline now to
that's coming all back.
That's nostalgia now. That's weird.
Right.
And as you can tell, we have shout outs for days. We could go on with all the shout-outs.
Right, but how about you shout yourself out? Why don't you promote yourself a bit?
My website that I need to revamp. Oh my God, I haven't looked at my own website in months. I have a note on my monitor actually that says "Get new studio photos and redo website."
Okay. Regardless of that, what I'm impressed with this is the fact that something like this, this is not, I don't want to sound insulting, but something like this exists in Medicine Hat, and you're providing this kind of service in a community that, as you mentioned, has been rough on folks who are into the maybe goth, metal, punk scenes. The fact that it's been revived, the fact that there is a studio in Medicine Hat for artists to come to. I mean, you might not be the only one. I don't know my Medicine Hat studios very well, but the fact that you are at least one of these key players in the Medicine Hat, Nate, doing this music production is awesome. So folks that are in the area can reach out to you. I wanted to highlight some of the artists you've worked with. The artists that you've worked with here in this list here that we're going to take a look at, here, are they all artists that are from the Medicine Hat area, or are they from all over the place?
No, they're kind of all over the place. So Mason Latowski is actually our former bass player.
Okay.
So that is his solo project. What do we have next? Wasting Away is a Nobody's Achievement. They're from Innisfail, I believe.
Right, I've played them on my old radio show.
Yeah,
great band.
That mix never got released. I was still figuring a few stuff out. They got a better version from someone else at the time, and they gave me permission to still put this on my portfolio, which I loved. We got Blackout, which is my buddy Swan Crucial from Crimson Caliber. That's his solo project.
Oh yeah, Crimson Caliber. It's a great project.
Oh yeah, and he is from Medicine Hat. That is right.
Correct. Yes.
Medicine Hat.
Crimson Caliber is from Medicine Hat.
Yeah.
Yes, thrash band, and that's his solo project. Okay, awesome.
And Invicta Heights. I'm going to bring them up after. Let's go. We're going to go through this. There is a band I'm currently working with from Lethbridge called Invicta Heights. Ray keeps bringing it up, and I do want to give them a shout out. They have some solid it's like late 2000s post-hardcore with some other nice twists and turns that you won't expect, and then you'll be very grateful that they went that way. But Time and Time's by grunge band from Lethbridge that I really enjoyed having. They came down one weekend out of four every month for 4 months, and we just
Wow.
hammered out a track over that weekend until their EP was done. Honestly, if bands are willing to do that, that's how I prefer doing it. If you guys want to make sure things are done right, like, let's really make sure the songs are what they need to be. Let's put the proper time in, especially if you want organic drums. Like, I will go and program for you, but if you guys really want to like have your drummer have a moment and he is able to do it, able to play to whatever he needs to play to, I definitely like doing that. That is Green Bones from Lethbridge. Noose was my solo project. And Arcane Sacrifice was actually from a band from Calgary called Balwergath. My good buddy Chris Saunders.
Yeah, I know
He's,
Balwergath.
used to be in the Reckless Heroes. They came down and played a show here in November that I hosted them for. And then they came down for the Concrete Wasteland podcast, and I recorded those songs live off the floor with them while we kind of did a little interview Q&A. And that's
Nice.
something I do want to get into doing at some point, is bringing bands in and still maintaining that. His Last Words is another band that I've worked with. They haven't released their EP yet. I think they're getting everything figured out to get a proper release out, but I worked on an EP with them last year from Calgary. So it's cool. Like I said earlier, how it's I'm Medicine Hat based, but we're all kind of like a southern Alberta community.
Sure,
Like, I
yeah,
might be based
definitely.
in Medicine Hat. Ray was based in Lethbridge for the longest time, and you guys in Calgary, but we're just a hop, skip, and a jump away from each other. And as long as we can make things work, it's amazing what's possible.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and Vito, you said you have an ear for production. I'm gonna play a let's check out Nobody's Achievement, because I know I've heard of them before, and they're quite happy with their tunes. Yeah, and you mentioned
Sounds badass.
it sound-
That kick sounds a bit punchy, eh?
Sorry, go ahead.
Super punchy kick on it.
Super punchy, yeah. So sorry, I'm making this the Nate show now, but I sorry, Ray. The production. Where did you Are you self-taught, or did you go to school to learn how to do this, or?
I'm primarily self-taught, but over the past, it's been 5 years now. Basically, for the longest time, I've just completely DIY. I was a huge believer of DIY. I do believe that's a huge reason why the underground scene is as resilient as it is because we will find a way to do it. And that's always been my thing. I still have my first mixer. I have my right hook mic that I've had for 8 years that I've modded and made work. This is the second version of the same mic I've used since I started, because I just love the way it sounded, and why not continue on? But 5 years ago, I just had relationship ended, figuring out my stuff, figuring out what is my focus. I need to get serious on this. So I started enrolling in the Ultimate Recording Machine. Started doing Nail the Mix first, getting a few things into that.
Right.
Did a couple. I did this hardcore mix vault with Jordan Valerian, where he did a breakdown on 4 tracks. One was a Silverstein track, one was an intervals track, and then since then I've been going really ham and hard into trying to maintain the fast tracks that Yoram produces. So I'm on using electronic production in metal music and using those for impact, and just taking my time to understand my art. And I understand professional schooling is an option for people, and if you can jive in that environment and you can actually learn and figure your stuff out there, I 100% believe you should go there. For me, I tried going to college twice to be a high school educator. I dropped out both times because I could not maintain my attention and my passion for it there. I always had music on the back burner and would kind of always go back to that. And then now I'm just focused on that and using my efforts within the time that I have to get better and provide what I can.
Nice.
Wonderful.
We have a Noose fan, Nate Trash, in the chat. He's like Noose.
Nate Trash actually did guest vocals on Noose.
That's why, yeah. Not only why, but Nate's got some killer vocals too.
Nate's an absolutely amazing artist, and he's been one of my best friends.
Yeah, we'll skip ahead a little bit.
Now, he's always been there for me through good times and bad times, and anyways, go follow Trash Talk on Facebook. That's Trash Talk with Nate Trash.
Absolutely.
He does podcast stuff too, and he's a really fun guy to do some interviews
I have
with.
to tell a brief story about Noose, because what's really cool is the video was filmed the same day we did the vocals, because Trash lives in Calgary, and we did all of this Christmas Eve. So essentially what happened is I got all the guitar done. Nate had come down a month prior. We were just sitting there. I'm riffing around. We're like, let's write a track together. I'm like, okay. what do you want? What style do you want to go with? It's like, I think I want to go something with like some death metal vibe, but, you know, some of your like groove and like Meshuggah influences as well. And so we just started riffing at it, got the song done. We figured out what we wanted for parts, but we're like, okay, I need Trash's vocals on here. I need my boy Nate. I got my buddy Swan on bass. Pete Mercer and I are both going to do vocals, but I want my boy Nate Trash on this. So I drove to Calgary, picked him up, brought him here. We tracked his vocals, filmed his side of the music video, and I had him home in time for Christmas Day with Mama Trash.
Mama Trash.
Nice.
Wow. There's a taste. Wow, new Nate Bohnet Noose. You can find that on YouTube. That's great. You know, and sadly the now defunct World Class White Trash. Right, that they released, I think, the best album they ever had, and then they quit. They called it quits. Yeah. And I know there's probably lots behind that. Nate's watching right now. It made me sad because it was such a great album, and then the band just kind of went their own. Everyone went their own ways. So hopefully we see more from Nate in the future.
I know, I think you're going to, and it's okay. I drove my way to see both of the final World Class White Trash shows because they were supposed to end, and then they didn't. I was like, you son of a bitch, I said I'm coming to your last show. So then I went again 2 months later and saw it. It was cool, too. They had that song Burning Empire off that record. Nate Trash and I actually have an old demo where and he talks very fondly of this night. We spent all night from the late PM to the early AM in my old jam space and studio tracking the vocals for that demo. Just him going ham, me sitting there going like, this is my first all-nighter going with someone. Let's get something going. And we still look back on that night going, that was probably the most fun we've had doing something.
Oh, Nate Trash says in the chat, more is coming for sure, fellas. Thank you for the kindness. Well, you deserve it, man. Yeah, you're excellent. Very, very talented vocalist. And like I said, it's just like got the best stuff out of you that I think I've ever heard. And then the band quit. So I'm happy to hear that there's more coming. So Octave Studios. So if someone wants to reach out to you, I guess they can go to the website, Octave Studios, smh.com. Oh, Octave Studio MH, Medicine Hat.
Yeah, Octave Studios MH.
Right. Octave Studios with an S, MH for medicinehat.com. All right. Yeah, definitely go check that out. Really, we won't have time to go through all of it tonight, but really excellent production. Vito, your ear was correct. You do an excellent job. And, you know, of course, you're self-taught, but there's nothing wrong with trying to learn more. So the nail, the mix, all those different courses and stuff like that. That's awesome that you're doing that, trying to hone your skills and trying to get better. But and then like different services, like there's mixing, mastering, artist development's pretty cool. So you've worked with bands to kind of try to bring them up from simple
just
origins,
figuring things out. Like Green Bones, for instance, like the idea of like, okay, let's take these 4 months to work on this track. Let's figure out how you guys are going to release it. I helped them produce and record a music video during one of the weekends they were down while we were recording, just so that they could have some content to push out when they had it. My roommate at the time, who runs Tranquilizer Arts, I hooked them up so that they could get a logo and everything done. So I just really helping provide them either the direction or the tools directly themselves to do what they can with it and just put their best foot forward, like I said earlier.
And then
fans want that.
And then here, mobile producer, do you have a spot to record but need an engineer or gear? I got you. I can travel to you with a mobile setup, and we can hammer out your material at whatever space you have lined up. That's pretty cool too. I will come to you.
I actually did that for the His Last Words EP. They had an area set up in Calgary, and I came down and we spent the weekend together and hammered up 4 tracks.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So I have so many things. You know what? You gentlemen are men of. Sorry. Oh, sorry, Ray. Ray.
I'm sorry.
I am so sorry, Ray. I am so sorry, Ray.
All good. Like, don't stress about it. We are all dudes.
All dudes.
Sorry, Ray. But I do want to say that. what was it? I lost track. I have so much I wanted to get to tonight, and I say both of you are of many words, and that we probably get to everything. But there's a couple of cool things that I looked up about Ray. You have some cool playthroughs online. I noticed though it says you live in Shibuya, Tokyo. So you're currently in Medicine Hat.
I'm gonna be straight up about this. I changed my bio to Shibuya, Tokyo because we went up for some peace rallies that got interrupted by some not so peaceful people, and I was very I made myself very aware there, and I got doxxed pretty hard by a bunch of Nazi groups and everything, and I had a bunch of very concerned people be like, you need to change your name and your living location right now.
Whoa. That's freaky.
I'm so sorry to hear that, actually. That's really...
I literally don't care. That's why I'm saying it on screen right now. We have our equality sign outside of our house right now.
Okay. Hopefully by saying that on this show, we don't bring attention to that either. I just noticed that. I just thought you put that on there because you just really love maybe Japanese culture. I assume that's where it came from.
The actual reason behind it or whatever, like the Fujioka thing, is because okay, so like one of my favorite shows, it's an anime called Yuran High School Host Club. There's a parent in the show that's also like a trans woman, and her name is Franca Fujioka. So like I changed my last name to her last name on Facebook.
Excellent.
Nice. I like the reference.
Me too. Yeah. Me too. So some really cool playthroughs on Facebook. I watched you playing guitar. Go ahead, Vito.
Thanks so much.
When did you start playing guitar, and how did you become so technical?
I started playing when I was 9.
Nice.
I got a guitar given to me by my real dad, who to this day, surprise, surprise, I do not know. And he still sent me a guitar though, so I'm gonna give him credit on that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here now, so.
Wow.
I got enrolled in lessons, and then I was in classical and jazz band on bass and percussion growing up, and then literally everything else I've done, from synths to drums to vocals and everything else, I've been entirely self-taught. Like I pretty much got taught in guitar lessons and in classical and jazz band how to play guitar and bass, and do a couple of drum things, a couple of theory things, and everything else I pretty much just ran a mile with it.
Wow.
Awesome.
Wow, you kill it, man. You kill it.
Awesome.
Watch those playthroughs all day.
Cool.
My guitar teachers, they taught me a lot of things about my lead play and blues inspired stuff, and a lot of tapping things. But as far as it a lot of extreme metal playing and stuff, if you guys have looked into anything that I've done in the past, I used to do a lot of death metal and stuff. A lot of that was very self-taught. Pretty much if it weren't for guitarists Dino Cazares, Brendan Small, and Rob Flynn, I would say I wouldn't have a good tremolo picking hand. And also, for lack of sounding like a sellout here, if we're going to talk about a hard right hand playing guitar, we got to give it to the main man, James Hetfield.
James Hetfield, okay. No, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with little James Hetfield. Awesome. So what I wanted to do, I maybe one or two more things I want to chat about tonight, but what I wanted to skip to is maybe one of our segments before we run out of time here on tonight's episode. The segment I wanted to do is a Wicked Wally Reacts. We don't do these very often. Typically, what I do is we do reviews of different artists. I take a little bit of a list and see if it's something that I think it's worth highlighting, something that I like, and then I see what my guests' opinions are. I see what my co-hosts' opinions are. But in this case, I'm going in blind. I don't think that Nate is going in blind, though, because he's heard of this band before. Maybe you have as well, Ray. But there is a band called Poltergeist from here in Alberta.
Not heard of Poltergeist, although Nate has. I'm excited to hear this.
Yeah, post-punk traditional metal from the frostbitten plains of Alberta, Canada. It says spectral hauntings created from various musical audios. Anyways, let's do this. Let's pull up the graphic and let's do a Wicked Wally reacts, because I haven't heard this before and I want to get we're gonna get my honest, unfiltered opinion listening to this for the first time. Let's do this. There we go. There you go. Wicked Wally reacts.
Drop B. Okay.
I like that beat.
Wicked Wally reacts with a W, of course. Everything's got to have a W. W.
Wicked Wally wax.
Reacts.
Are you sure this is a punk band? That was a very metalcore riff.
Oh, that was his intro.
Oh yeah.
It's, I'm sorry, I was just joking.
No worries, Ray. That was just the reaction segment. So this is the band Poltergeist. Hallucinations in the Catacombs is the album. I didn't know which track to pick, so I picked the most listened to one on YouTube. I hope this is a good one. If not, we'll try a different song.
I gotta say this right here. I love the artwork. I love the aesthetic. I absolutely love that like black and white line art, like old school skull hands thing with like the pink overlay on top of it. I like how everything's in like a baby pink kind of thing. Like I love that contrast of just like cute colors with like hard as heck kind of like aesthetics. That's the kind of like the cute and evil contrast is something I'll always go for. I don't know if that's what they were going for with it, but like I love the color pink personally, especially when it's with like evil looking things like that. I love it.
Yeah, and this is project by Kalen Baker. I often see him in the Calgary scene. I don't know if he's just from Calgary specifically, but I often see him out at shows. He's a huge supporter.
I feel like I've heard that name, and I feel like he's maybe followed me on Instagram. I feel really bad, like if I'm drawing a blank here, but
no worries.
I'm already like.
He had a project called White Diamond before. It was a little more
I know
on the.
Exactly who this is. White Diamond. Okay, so this is Kalen Baker's new stuff. I'm officially excited.
Okay, all right, awesome. So like I said, I don't know if it's the best track to listen to. I'm just going to pick the most popular track, apparently from what I see on YouTube here. We're going to take a listen to it through Clouded Eyes. Again, this is post-punk traditional metal traditional metal. So let's check it out. Probably a bit progressive, I'm assuming, based on some other stuff he's put out. Let's do this.
Post-punk traditional metal. That makes a lot more sense.
Let's check it out. Okay. As Nate goes for another rip.
Very dark wave, synth wave,
very
with, like,
80s.
nice clean guitars.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Very Ministry, very typo negative. I like that.
I'm just guessing based on.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm just guessing based on the number of views. This is probably because it's the first track on the album. So let's take a listen. There's a short one too. There's a 7-minute song. I'm going to dive into that next. We watch the skies. I already want to hear more. I'm already interested in this. Sorry, what were you going to say, Nate?
I feel like this could be like intro audio to like a heavy metal-esque style animation. You know what I mean? Like setting the scene with this as the background music.
Sure. Mm-hmm. What a great way to open an album. I'm almost going to guarantee you this is the first track on the album.
I want to hear more.
Oh, cool.
That's exactly the kind of vocals I was hoping for that.
Same.
I'm just getting happier and happier hearing this.
This is I am digging. This is very I feel like dude, it's cool. You know, I feel like a beatnik or something. I just love it. It's such a cool vibe. And I'm wrong. This is the second song on the album, not the first. So I'm wrong about that from a first impression. But like I said, let's check a little more of this one out, and then I want to check out the 7-minute song "We Watch the Skies," and we'll chew into that one a bit as well. I definitely want to hear more. Let this breathe a little bit more, and then I want to jump into that other track.
I just gotta say,
Sorry, Ray.
like Kalen's been following me on Instagram for years actually, so like I'm actually very excited to hear some of his music on this podcast tonight. This is really cool.
This is very very doomy. I love it.
I like
Trying hard to connect the words, but the vision is far too blurred. Patiently I wait and comply as I watch my life pass me by.
Okay, very cool. Okay, I'm going to jump into this. The We Watch the Skies. It's a 7-minute track. I'm assuming it's going to be the opus of the album, but let's just check it out. Oh, this is an ad. This is an ad.
Hooray for advertisement.
Okay, let's just skip ads. Okay, I'll just have to mute that for a bit. I'm going to pull, actually, while this is going through, I'm going to pull.
You can skip.
Now I can. There we go. And look at this, cassette tapes. He's actually you can get the album on cassette. That is pretty awesome.
Coming back.
I love that cassette collecting is such a huge thing right now because like I'm a huge vinyl collector, but like getting vinyl pressed is a very expensive thing. It's decently easy to get tapes pressed, and I'm glad that tape collecting has just as big as a respect as vinyl collecting does nowadays. Because of that, because there is a huge price difference in both.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he's definitely not from Calgary. He says his post that says cassettes will be available this Friday on my Bandcamp. We'll also be in Calgary over the weekend if you want to meet up downtown. That was an old post now, but okay, let's check this. Let's check out We Watch the Skies, Poltergeist, Doom. Very interested to hear more.
I'm stoked.
Okay, I hit play. It is.
You have it muted.
Oh, I have it muted. Okay, let's start again. Thanks.
Black metal riff.
Oh, nice. This is nice. This is so far away from what I normally listen to. I'll be perfectly honest with you, but I'm digging it. I'm really digging it. This is definitely not something I normally would listen to. Like I said, I'm usually in the like melodic metal and hard rock, and this is definitely outside of that realm in my opinion. But But like the horror elements, the artwork goes along with this perfectly, because I hear horror elements. I think back to my old radio days. There's a show on called Radio Free Transylvania that's opened up before my show. This would fit on there perfectly. There was a show before that they kind of played more experimental music, and in this vein, it would fit on that. I'm going to assume, hopefully this did really well in the community radio charts, because it's absolutely deserved. And I think there's a lot of and this is not an insult, for what it is. Again, it's not exactly where I would normally gravitate towards, but for what it is, I think it's done very, very well.
I really dug the drumming. I couldn't help but air drum. I felt like the drummer hit the parts that needed to be hit, felt the vibe. Like, I love the shift when he went from the da 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 break, da 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 da. Like, just letting it feel while keeping simplicity. I love that.
Is this like a one man show? Does Kalen do all of this by himself?
I don't know.
I don't. I'm looking up information on it, but there's so little information that he has online about the band. It might be just a one person project. That's even more impressive. Yeah, the tapes are sold out. It looks like the cassette tapes are sold out on Bandcamp right now, by the way. So that was a hit, completely sold out. So good job there. Let's pull that up. Yeah, sold out. Awesome. Do we want to listen to maybe just a little more of this track, and then we'll move on?
I'm down.
Nobody wants to hear. Is it just within my mind? If I look, what will I find? There's something wrong.
So 80s. It's so 80s. I love it though.
This isn't right.
80s synth doom metal horror, like
it's the vibe perfectly on there.
Wow,
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Absolutely.
I dig it.
I definitely dig it. I wish I was taking rips like you guys were, because it'd be a perfect thing to be listening to right now.
That's what I was thinking after I took the last one, just laying back, like, that was the right choice.
but I actually, I mean, I maybe a little here and there I do that, but not a ton. I would never do that trying to run a live show though like this. I have to push a bunch of buttons and stuff. I would just lose my mind trying to organize a live show and be high at the same time. I don't think it would work very well.
Keep this from going.
Oh, Nate says Nate knows about Nate Trash in the chat. Thanks. He's like our
social anxiety and ADHD, so it's just kind of like it's good that I'm like this.
That's his life.
So, Poltergeist is all Kalen. It's all him.
Wow.
Really
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. Good job, man.
Like solo guy projects, just for like being like, wow, you got all of that out of yourself. Like, you were able to do that. Well done. Hey, no, that is my pizza cat.
Pizza cat? Like, is he a samurai pizza cat?
Oh my God, he's trying to steal the pizza.
He's trying to steal my pizza. My cat has lost life privilege.
Is he a samurai pizza cat? No.
He could be. Shisha is a mysterious individual.
Awesome. So, Wicked Wally Reacts, again, not something I would normally listen to, but I am going to check out that whole thing. I'm going to sit back and listen to that whole thing. I'm going to play it. I'm probably going to have it going. I'm going to listen to it and repeat a couple times. I'm just doing my thing tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to check that out.
Play the baby. You got to play the baby.
Yeah. I think Vicious Vienna would love the
Vicious Vienna.
Would love the music. So yeah, that's my little one. So I think she'd probably enjoy this. Yeah, excellent, absolutely excellent. The last thing I wanted to chat about with the both of you is involvement, and I saw this on some of the social media here, the involvement with the Alternative Waves Music Festival in Medicine Hat. So it didn't have 2020 was canceled. It's really sad. 2020 was canceled for Alternative Waves. Headlining was going to be Into Eternity, which is one of my favorite bands. So that would have been awesome. I know people still in Medicine Hat. Like I said, I used to live there, and I have friends in Medicine Hat still. I would go down, and my brother lives there. So I would have, if the festival was going on, I would have traveled to Medicine Hat to go to go to that festival, to visit my friends, and also see Into Eternity play at the festival there. That would have been really awesome. What is your involvement in the Alternative Ways Music Festival? I don't think you're one of the organizers because other folks doing that, right? But what's your involvement in that?
Well, I technically am a founder, I guess, because the
Okay,
Alternative Ways
okay.
Music Festival was an idea I brought together back in 2015. Was our very first go at it. And I did that alongside two other engineers in the city, Tyler Falk and Chandler Weinkoff. And we did a 2-day outdoor event in, originally we wanted to do it in King Cooley, which is actually same area where the tunnel shots from our Eject video were.
Mm-hmm.
We were originally going to do it there, but there's complications with the college did their movies in the park on the weekends during the summer. So we had to migrate to this place called Echodale, which would have been great. We couldn't get any transportation to and from, which made things difficult. And it was right when those Montana fires were happening in 2015. So everything was smoky. No one really wanted to go out anyway, but it went off without a hitch. Like for what we did, we lost a lot of money, and there's a reason it took us till 2019 to go again, or more so like me and getting more people involved again. But we did what we could. We had Shark Infested Daughters and Dusty Tucker as our headliners.
Nice.
Love both those bands.
Me too.
Guys and Dusty Tucker are some of my favorite people in the whole world. And then in 2019, like originally it was supposed to be my send-off show because I had intended to move to Calgary by the end of that summer. So I was going to help do one last festival. I brought Naraka back for one last hurrah, kind of pulled the whole, hey, Ben, and you worked my first show here. You should play my last show here.
In Alternative Ways, it's metal, it's punk, it's also rap as well, like rap and hip hop as well.
And whatever we have in the underground. I'm a huge, and I have always been. If people know me from booking shows in Medicine Hat, I've always been a multi-genre individual. I might not vibe with everyone's music, but I do believe everyone has an audience, and I don't believe in crab mentality. We exist to bring people out. If you are successful or have any kind of success to any degree, you use that to help bring others up, because it's easier for everyone to keep moving forward if you're pulling everyone up than it is shooing them back down to the bottom.
Right.
It's no.
I like that.
So I've always been a huge multi-genre guy for that.
And you're not just saying that in terms of picking people up. I get that. All the research I did for this episode, everything I get is that you're trying to help others and pick everyone else up, lift everyone else up as well. You mentioned the different genres, and that's something I forgot to play earlier when we were looking at the examples. You have Octave Studios. You have your portfolio here. The one that stood out to me the most was the very last one you had on here, Dichotomies. It's Friday Night is the band, because this is not, because I think of your projects and the works that you've done. I think metal, I think really heavy stuff. It's not heavy, and this is I think a great example for someone who's maybe not into metal to listen to what you do and hear how good the production is. So I'm going to play just a little bit of this, and I want to hear what Vito thinks.
For this,
okay.
I will admit I didn't record any of this. I strictly mixed this. This was a track that was made available to me to use for my portfolio through URM. They have this thing called Portfolio Builder where they have not top label bands, but like just well recorded things for engineers who want to get stuff out there, but maybe at the time don't have the opportunity of recording.
Oh, so you didn't actually work with this particular band?
No. I just had the pleasure of mixing this one for my portfolio. But do I have? Oh, I don't have it on there. If you search up Toki on Spotify, there's a rap EP I actually recorded and produced back in 2018.
Okay. How do you spell that?
Tokey. The EP is called The Bear. THABEAR.
The Bear. Okay, and this track that you helped with was which one again?
I produced the entire EP.
Oh, the whole EP. Okay, any particular song? Just
no. Anyone that you want to pick. Maybe go with the top played one. I didn't produce any of the beats. I added backing things. I recorded with the vocalist. I helped him work on getting things going. A lot of the beats were like he brought in, because I've noticed that's a thing with rappers is with some of them, when they don't have stems, they find beats that they can use and just go put my vocals over it. And I kind of like doing more than that. So occasionally I'd go and try to spice it up here and there.
All right, we'll experiment here on the webcast tonight. Let's try to listen to a tiny bit of Another One Down Part 2 featuring Kid Kill It. Let's check it out.
Oh, this one. Right.
Is there like
Take a shot, take a sip, loosen up, play your hit, try to keep the party live. Life is what you make of it. Everybody better come up out of the shell.
Super cool bass line in it too, yeah.
So loosen up, kick back, been a long day. I got another sick track, put it on play. I'm picking up a 6-pack, thick bag,
My
zigzag,
favorite
quick
part.
drag of a smoke, then I'm on way. I'm on my way, I mean, I'm about to chug 'em back. And yo, I'm here to bring the party with another rap. Ain't no delaying, listen, all I'm really saying is if y'all are here to vibe and let loose, then I'm loving that. I'm here to make waves, they call me Great White. These haters stuck in the net, I'll take a megabyte. I'm here to live it tonight, so when I'm gripping the mic, you know I'm getting it hype. I gotta do it like chug another one down. Everybody better get up, we take another hit.
that's pretty good.
It's catchy, right? It's got that bounce. It's got that rhythm. It's like, I can vibe.
Nice. So that's a great example. Yeah, you should definitely throw that on your portfolio because that just shows the diversity and the different things you've worked on. So alternative waves. Yeah. So alternative waves. It's probably not going to be returning this year. But I'm going to guess hopefully next year. You never know, right?
You guys are going to try to work on it next year. I'm not. I no longer work on the planning end. I'm strictly going to be working sound for the event now. For myself, it was just time for me to reshift and refocus on everything. I've been doing underground promotion in Medicine Hat for almost a decade now.
Right.
And like I said, the 2019 was supposed to be my final hurrah here. I was planning on moving and relocating. It didn't happen, but while I'm still here, the goal was to leave it in the hands of individuals that could keep it going and not allow this to flounder. And I will still be a resource to help them out. But it's time for me to start focusing on some other things and start shifting it up and changing it up and getting other things going.
Right. And since we spend so much time talking about Nate, and I feel bad for Ray, that I'm gonna pull up Ray. I'm gonna pull up two of your playthroughs. Let me know which one you want me to highlight here.
I think this is playing a new No Hope for the Lost song right here. But,
okay.
To make sure.
Yeah, little teaser.
Oh, so a new hope for the and it hasn't been released yet.
No, we're in demo stages right now for our new EP.
Oh, so this is the perfect thing to play then. Okay, awesome. Let's check this out.
That's the part that I'm singing on right there, actually.
Oh.
What Ray's chorus is going to sound like in that, too.
Sneak peek. I'm going to rewind it a little bit so we can hear it again. Excellent guitar playing. As for the vocals, like really solid, like metal, emo metalcore, like like very, very, like very, perfectly executed emo metalcore.
I ended up playing in a lot of extreme metal bands like growing up, but I'm very like influenced by a lot of like melodic metalcore and a lot of like emo stuff growing up as well. And
I can hear it.
I'm finally at a part in my life where I'm just kind of like I'm gonna shamelessly show those influences and like my guitar playing.
Absolutely.
One of the hardest things about like death metal and extreme metal and grindcore or whatever is like everybody wants to play it. It's really fun, right? But like who can find a drummer that isn't in 10 bands doing that? And I got sick of doing that at one point or another.
And that's one thing I really love about what we're doing now, especially with how the new EP. I'm not going to go in depth on it or like go a whole lot. I'm just going to say the concept that fell on our lap is one we have been talking about since the concept for this EP, and I didn't think we'd get to it this soon. I didn't think we'd have the tracks that would work and flow in the way that I want to execute it, because we're doing another video game thing, but it's also intertwined with something a whole lot more serious based off what that game actually represents. If you get into,
I mean, like, we may as well tell these.
Okay, we're doing a Majora's Mask EP. That is
cool.
also a synopsis for the 5 stages of grief, because both Ray and I have experienced some horrendous stuff that we would never wish upon anyone in our lives, and and right now I feel that is most reflective for everyone, because everyone has experienced something like this, and I feel for me it's very reflective. I actually can't wait, because I'm going to go through and write them stage by stage so that I can properly like execute them properly. We already got the first song, which is you heard snippets of it, or is that the no? That's the first song.
that was Swamp and Denial.
Yeah, so we're going to take some of our time with it. I was kind of thinking like, oh, maybe we'll have it done by before this year, and then we thought about like, even if we finish the way we finished the last EP, it'll be coming out around this time next year if everything goes properly as we want to do it.
Right.
But with that, I'm excited to go about it. And I think it's something that, like this one, connected with like a nostalgia factor of Final Fantasy and all that other stuff. I hope this one again hits with that nostalgia aspect of like Majora's Mask. Because for me, I loved Ocarina of Time, but Majora's Mask, oh man, that moon, those 3 days, it was a horrible time on the N64, man. Now, let me tell you, some things had to be done.
And that's just one thing, like, there might be a huge story, there might be, like, a bigger story on The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and, like, it might be a little bit more iconic, but, like, there's definitely a lot of, like, hidden meanings and stories, like, within Majora's Mask, as, like, crazy as a fever dream of that whole game was, that just, like, there's a lot of lessons to be learned in Majora's Mask or whatever, and like, I just found it was a very like shocking game for the Zelda series. Like, it was very emotionally heavy in a lot of parts, and like the whole entire game deals with topics of death and grief kind of thing, which is kind of like stuff we're going to be expanding on in the next EP kind of thing. Like,
I'm excited for it. I sorry to cut you off, but I'm excited for it, and also just the personal connection to your own loss and grief, and just kind of I'm interested to see if you're like going to intertwine some of your own personal stories in the video game lore as well, and that kind of stuff. So that's
I've always been a very even with I think this EP, if you listen to it, you can hear the main message like in the story, but if you go through it and just like I've explained, like the brief lore of all these characters, you can find your own reflections and take your own things out of it listening to it. And I'm a huge believer of that. Even if I have my message, that might not be what you take from it. And I would much rather you be able to take something from it fully rather than rely on me to tell you what it's about. And the reason I brought up DP, and I'll wrap this up really, really quick, I love the fact that we are a unit that we can go this route and do what we want. You brought up the emo influence. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't hugely inspired by like 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge, Black Parade era MCR back in the day.
Same here. I'm hugely influenced by all eras of My Chemical Romance. I'll say that shamelessly.
And there's a bunch of styles, and I like the fact that musically we can comfortably bring all of our influences to the forefront to make something that we want to without feeling like we have to sacrifice something to fit into the style we're trying to do. We can just bring what we want out and go, does this work? Cool, let's go with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great place. I think that's a great place to end it. I want folks to make sure follow No Hope for the Lost. We have check them out on Spotify, their YouTube channel. There's lots of amazing content on there as well. You're on Facebook. You're on Instagram, but that one's a little harder to find. You have a bunch of zeros.
Replace all the O's with zeros.
So the Instagram's a little harder to find. No Hope for the Lost, but definitely give them a follow. I'm excited to hear what's coming out next, and I want to give both of you props for. Honestly, if I had drank that much or had that much marijuana, I would not be able to be interviewed on a talk show. There's no freaking way. I would
Thank you very much for having.
I would be messed.
I've only had 7 of these while on the podcast, so I'm doing perfectly okay.
Only
like, woohoo!
So honestly, that's pretty impressive. Well, thank you so much. I'm gonna let folks know what's coming up on future episodes of the Wicked Wally webcast we have on the weeks to come, and I think we'll end things there. Anything else in terms of did I kind of cover it? Where to follow you guys? Is there anything else you want folks to know?
If you guys want to check me out, I will be going live on Twitch probably in the next half hour. I'm going to go get a coffee. I just like to go live when I game, so after everything's said and done, if you want to come watch me get my ass handed in the new Call of Duty, feel free to come on over. And aside from that, thank you to everyone who's checked out No Hope for the Lost. Our new EP broke to 20,000 streams as of today. So that is
nice.
Fun to everyone. Thank you guys for reaching out and having us on here. This has been a blast.
It's fun.
Good fun. Hopefully when we can actually travel, we'll catch you guys at shows and stuff. Love to meet you in person.
Would love it.
Before we go, I just gotta say it's been an absolute blast hanging out with the last 2 hours with you guys.
Thanks, Ray.
It was nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you, Ray. It was lovely meeting you as well.
It's possible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so on upcoming shows. All right, coming up on the Wicked Wally webcast in future episodes. And just to let folks know, we are doing every second week right now. As I mentioned before, I'm a brand new papa, so I'm getting used to that and the lack of sleep. So we're not doing the show quite as often for now, but we'll definitely get up to a weekly schedule again, maybe in a couple months. But for now, we're doing every second week on May the 12th, 9 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Mountain time. So that's 2 weeks from now. We're gonna get high with Phantom High. Although I'm not gonna get high because I couldn't do the podcast if I got high. A band called Phantom High. We interview front woman Peril of Toronto's industrial nu metal act Phantom High. Guest host on that is Montana. That's gonna be. I've been looking forward to that for a long time. We had to push some shows out, but they have such a cool aesthetic. Think like Marilyn Manson meets Rammstein. Like it's very and with masks and crazy gothic attire. It's a very cool project. Following that, 2 weeks. Oh, May 26th. That can't be right. Hold on. That's only 2 weeks later. Isn't that? Did I get my dates wrong? May 12th and then May 26th. Hold on. Okay, we're gonna. I'm just gonna come on the screen and and figure this out. Sorry for that. Still getting my bearings straight after having to rejig our schedule because my kid came early. So coming up on future episodes of the Wicked Wally webcast, I'm gonna just pull this up on another page here. So, like I said, Phantom High will be on May the 12th. That is correct. May 12th and... Oh, no, that is correct. I am so sorry, folks. Here we go. Let's pull this back up. Vito, what did you take from tonight's episode? No, Vito's not here anymore. Phantom High. So following the episode of Phantom High on May 26th, two Wednesdays, 2 weeks after, we're going to get episode number 25, Get Ruined with Toxic Ruin. Toxic Ruin, we're interviewing Wisconsin's leaders in modern thrash metal. Toxic Ruin, fresh off their signing with the label M Theory Audio. That's pretty exciting. Vito will be back on that episode, and they are an excellent thrash metal band. We did them as one of our review segments on a previous episode of the Wicked Wally webcast, and we were so impressed that I had to reach out to them and see if they'd be interested on being on the show. And not only that, M Theory Audio, that's what is it? Oh, my brain's shutting off. It's too late for No Sleep Wally. Following that, 2 weeks later, Wednesday, June 9th, we'll just keep going, power through. 7 p.m. Mountain Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Episode number 26, Howl at the Moon with Lycanthro. Lycanthro, we are joined by members of Ottawa, Ontario's werewolf power metal band, Lycanthro. 1 week after releasing their first full-length album, Mark of the Wolf, on the Grease label Alone Records. And I'm not sure who's going to be guest hosting on that one yet. Maybe Montana or I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, Vito, I was wondering maybe if you, Montana, want to switch with the Toxic Ruin episode because she's more into the thrash and you're more into the power metal. That might be more.
Yeah, we could do that. And
yeah.
My apologies also. I was muted before time when you asked me that question.
No worries. I was asking you a question because I
hanging.
had technical problems. Pushing the wrong buttons. The following Wednesday, June 23rd, not following Wednesday, 2 weeks later, I'm on a 2-week schedule, episode number 27, Arrival of Autumn, although it's in the spring. So it's Arrival of Autumn, but the show's in the spring. After being signed to Nuclear Blast, Grand Prairie's Alberta's Arrival of Autumn released their powerhouse of an album, Harbinger, in 2019. They have new music in the works, and they're going to join us and give us a taste of what they have coming up next, and we'll see who is available for that episode. Yes, Vito. Thanks again, man. It was fun having you back on tonight's show. It's been a while since you had a chance to do this, but maybe in the following weeks, if your schedules, if you're able to, I'd like to have you in a couple more shows, just to make up for all the missed time.
Yeah, I agree. It was super fun, and thanks for having me on. And hopefully Lost is sweet. I want to hang out with them when we get a chance to.
Absolutely. All right, thanks again for everyone who tuned in tonight. Nate Trash says, I'll come host one. He wants to be a co-host. Maybe we'll have a special guest co-host one night. That might be a cool idea. Have Nate on to help us co-host. That might be a cool idea, Nate. You were a co-host tonight in the chat, so thanks for that. All right, thanks, folks. Tune in 2 weeks from now. Same wicked time, same wicked channel. This is Wally and Vito signing out.
Have a good night.